the 1-0 loss against Forest, and first one is Goalless Spurs.
Yeah, and this, obviously, we didn't score yesterday. No surprise. That's only the fourth occasion this season we failed to score after not scoring against Palace, Arsenal and Bournemouth. Those are the only 4 occasions we haven't scored. It's also the 5th time this season that Spurs have recorded an expected goals of under 1. Again, I think it was against Bournemouth, Arsenal, Palace, and I think it was Ipswich as well. We recorded an XG of below 1. Let me just get that right. Palace, Arsenal, and Fulham, Bournemouth, and Forest. So, look, we were stifled yesterday. Forest are a very good defensive team. As I've said, we're not the first team to struggle against their back line, but the numbers are there. We very much struggled to create yesterday.
Yeah, and it was a big frustration. I mean, I was standing there in the away end. I was like row 1 yesterday, and not for 1 second did I believe that Spurs could get back in the game after we went behind. I did think they scored against the run of play, Forest, but after that, I didn't have any sort of hope that we just looked like a blunt tool, a real blunt tool, without the tools or really the quality to break down that Nottingham Forest side, and that's the reality. But we move on to number 2, and that is Johnson's crucial misses.
Yeah, and I think his misses yesterday really came at crucial times and in crucial moments of the game. And if he scores just one of them, I think we probably could be talking about a different game and maybe a different result. Unfortunately, those he had 3 of our 4 shots on target yesterday, Brenan. He accounted for 0.5 of Tottenham's 0.9 XG. So pretty much accounts for all our expected goals yesterday, Brenan. And I think those misses prove costly, especially against a team like Forest, where chances do come at a premium. You have to really fight tooth and nail just to create with the way they defend. And when they come to you, you've just got to take them. You can't afford to be missing chances, and he missed 3 of them. And I think it proved very costly yesterday.
It definitely did. And Johnson, he's our top goal scorer this year in all competitions.
In all comps, yeah.
He scored 10 goals this season. He knows where the back of the net is, and some really nice finishes in there as well. He's got more quality than that, and particularly a player who hasn't started over the last couple of games, so tiredness can't be an attributing factor for Brenan Johnson. So he's got to be doing a lot better than they did yesterday. And yeah, he was our brightest attacker, but that just means he was the best of a pretty bad bunch yesterday. And he gets a small amount of credit to getting in the positions to score, but it means nothing if you don't actually put the ball in the back of the net. So really disappointing from Brenan Johnson yesterday. Number 3 is centre-backs aerial dominance.
Yeah, and just to highlight one positive when it comes to the performance yesterday, and that is Gray and Dragoshin really kind of improving their aerial ability in this game, because that was one thing that actually got them really unstuck against Liverpool. Szoboszlai was really dominant in the air, and that caused us a lot of problems, and he pretty much won all his aerial duels. And coming up against Chris Wood, you would have thought this is another going to be a time where they're going to struggle in the air, and maybe Chris Wood is going to create a lot of problems. But actually, they dominated Chris Wood in the air aerially, and that was a big improvement. Dragoshin won 3 of his 4 aerial duels, Gray 2 of his 3 as well, with Wood only winning 2 of his 7 aerial duels. So fair play to Dragoshin and Gray. One element of the game where they actually nullified Chris Wood pretty effectively, and that's a small positive in the game.
Yeah, that's what I said in my post-match reaction yesterday when watching it there. I said the only players that come out with any sort of credit in that game was probably the centre-backs. And I thought Dragoshin and Gray both did well, particularly Archie Gray, as an 18-year-old, we say it every game pretty much, as a midfielder, filling in at centre-back, so mature for his age. Doesn't matter what position you play him in, he seems to come out with a lot of credit in any position he plays in. So you've got to give massive kudos to Archie Gray. And Dragoshin, his confidence probably would have taken a massive knocking after that Liverpool game where, they come out after the game and say they clearly targeted him. And they targeted him to a lot of avail. Well, this game, he stood up to the challenge, but now he's injured.
Yeah, ankle injury apparently, yeah.
You just can't make it up, can you? You just cannot make it up. So now Spurs have 0 fit centre-backs at the football club.
Yeah. Archie Gray's our senior centre-back.
Oh, it's mad.
Senior centre-back.
Surely
Gray.
Dorrington comes in now.
Yeah, with Dorrington and Gray.
Dorrington or Basuma at centre-back? Who'd you go for? I go for Dorrington.
Yeah, probably. You might as well, because he's a centre back. So you might, it could be trouble, but you might as well give him a run out and see what he does.
I mean, it could be trouble. I mean, it's going to be trouble either way.
Exactly. Would you rather want two midfielders there, or would you want at least one centre back? Might as well go for Dorrington.
Number 4 is tired Decky.
Yeah, and Decky, I thought, had a very uncharacteristic display on the day. I think even in games where he's not played well, usually, the physical numbers and the defensive numbers are still fairly decent. But yesterday, I think the numbers speak for themselves, and I think it told the story of Decky. He did have 2 key passes, so despite having a bit of a shocker, he still was able to find some moments of quality, which is not insignificant. But in terms of his defensive numbers, only 2 of his 16 ground duels completed, which, Decky's usually a high number of ground duels, but also usually wins at least half of them. So, it's a massive drop-off on how many ground duels he won. He only completed 2 of his 6 dribbles, so was caught on the ball a number of times. He got dribbled past 4 times, which is definitely an indication of someone who was out on his feet. He made 3 fouls, didn't make any tackles, and only 1 interception. Completed 0 out of 5 crosses as well. And also there was that one moment in the second half he cut inside and looked like he was going to crack a shot, and it was just a weak effort, and it tame and just rolled wide. P rolled wide, and he was just completely out on his feet yesterday. And I think putting him back in the centre as well, having that kind of tired performance when you're back in midfield as well, compounded what was a really poor midfield display from Tottenham yesterday.
Yeah, I guarantee you if we were playing City yesterday, he wouldn't have been tired. He would have found that extra energy. Now I'm joking, but I feel like Decky is just running on empty at the moment. It was only a few weeks ago he was saying that he doesn't get tired, but now we're seeing fatigue really creep up on him. And yeah, I just felt like he was, like I said before, holding on to the ball for too long, not making a real impact in the game. And it's unfortunate because it's hard to criticise Decky too much because of how good he's actually been this season. Been our player of the season by a landslide. But yesterday, he should have come off earlier than he did, in my opinion.
Yeah. He didn't come off at all, did he? Or did he?
Oh, no, he didn't even come off at all. Well, he should have come off.
He should have come off, probably. Yeah, he just didn't look right. Didn't look right at all.
And 5th and final takeaway is Forest pull clear. Yeah,
I think yesterday was a real crucial game when it came to how our league season looks, because sometimes you just have these games during a season where it's like very pivotal, like things can swing very wildly over one game. I remember I look back at that Leicester season when we played them at home, and that game, I point to that game a lot as like how your season can really swing. 'Cause I think it was a difference between us going 8 points behind.
Was that
Leicester.
Huth in the last minute, that one?
Yeah, because if we would have won that game, I think we go level or above Leicester, and if we lost, we go like 8 points or 7 points behind, and we ended up battering them and then losing, and we ended up going 8 points behind. And the whole second half of the season, we ended up chasing them, and everyone knows what happened instead of being above them at that point. And I think yesterday was a similar case. If we would have won, it's 5 points, and all of a sudden 5 points with half a season, you're thinking that's not insurmountable. But now it's 11 points. 11 points is very significant. And
the two moments that you bring up is against 2 Midlands club where, at the beginning of the season, everyone firmly expected us to be well ahead of these clubs. Leicester had just come up to the Premier League a year before. They fought relegation the year before, I think, and they go and win the league. Nottingham Forest, with our old manager who we sacked after 10 games, are now 11 points above us. Nottingham Forest were odds on to fight relegation this season. It's just madness, isn't it?
It's crazy. And look, massive credit to them. I still think there will be a drop off. I look at the way they play, and there's going to be games where they sometimes struggle to create chances, and they don't always get the goal like they did yesterday. So I do think there's going to be a drop off. I think we were, with the chance we gave them, I thought we defended well in general, but obviously we gave them that chance, and that's always a likely possibility with how we play. But look, will Forest end the season in the top 4? I'm not sure about it, but credit to them. They're 11 points above us, so regardless of where they get top 4, will we be above Forest come the end of the season? That's now looking unlikely, which is a mad prospect.
No, regardless of whether they finish top 4 or not, they've got a hell of a big of a chance of getting it than us, that's for sure. And to be here midway through the season, near the turn of the year, and for Nottingham Forest to have a bigger chance to get top 4 than us, I think is a disgrace. It really is a disgrace.
It's madness. I mean, look, I think there's a lot of teams who, especially not just including us as well, but a lot of teams will be wondering how Forest are above them, considering where they expect to be. But obviously, they're 11 points above us, and that should never be the scenario. And it is.
Yeah, look, a lot of all the other clubs that maybe thought they were going to fight for top 4 are a lot closer to Forest than we are.
That's true.
And yeah, it's just a really hard one to take.
They're third at the moment above Arsenal.
Yeah.
At the time of speaking.
Yeah,
I mean,
obviously they played tonight. Yeah. But even
which is mad.
Like Aston Villa, they're 5 points above us, so they're a lot closer to us. Man City are also 5 points above us. Newcastle 6 points above us. So I mean, all these clubs are a lot closer to Nottingham Forest than us, a lot closer. So yeah, there you have it. That is the 5 takeaways from the game against Nottingham Forest yesterday. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below.